Hello. So, I don't really have enough time to really get into what I want to get into right away, but I do have free time, and so I'm making the most out of this time I have alone in the house to get some thoughts out there. So, one question that I like to ask myself very often is, do things happen by random, or does everything happen for like a reason per se? Like, or you can rephrase it in a way like does fate exist? Are we predestined to go down a certain path in life? Because for me, I can't really tell. I guess for a lot of my life so far, I felt like a lot of things just happened by chance, or I couldn't see how things were connected. And starting, I would say, mid to the beginning of this year, everything started to change for me, and I had to take a really hard look at myself, my life, and who I was, who I thought I was. And I happened to learn about like astrology. I learned about a little bit about mysticism and spirituality. I found spirituality really this year, and I started to really dive into it, and especially astrology. When I started to learn about astrology, and I started to learn that there was more to it than just your sun sign, which is what most people think of when they hear about astrology or think of astrology. Think of a sun sign. Like, oh shit. Ew. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, that's pizza. I have pizza in the oven. So, instead of cutting this video short, I'm going to take you with me to get my pizza out the oven. Anyway, so, do things happen for a reason, or are they, is it by chance or not? Because when I look at astrology per se, right? When I look at astrology, and especially when I look at my own astrology, my placements, my entire life is detailed in astrology. And what does that mean? Like, if my entire life could be written about or could be interpreted through astrology, and like everything that happened in my life so far, from what I could tell in my research and my chart, really researching my chart, it appears that everything was supposed to happen that way. And when I look back and think about it, I really couldn't see things happen any other way. Like, it just kind of makes sense to me the way my life has panned out so far. And I say, okay, well, if this is happening, and everything that happened to me previously was to get me to this point right here in this awareness, what does that mean? Do I actually have control over my life, or what is going on here? If astrology can tell me that, what is going on? Is there something that I'm not seeing? Is there something that humanity is not paying attention to? Sorry if it's dark. Because I feel like something is up. I know something is up. Because that shit couldn't be by chance. It could not be by chance that everything is just detailed that way. It just makes too much sense. So what does that mean for us? What does that mean for humanity? And I was never religious. Ever since I was in middle school, I always maintained a very, I was agnostic for pretty much the entirety of my life. I stayed agnostic because for me, ever since I grew up, I always felt since a young age that it made no sense for me to simply, sorry about this camera. It made no sense for me to simply just, follow a religion that my parents followed, poorly I would say at that, followed because my parents did it. I mean, like, I felt like that wasn't true faith to me. If I just went into a religion simply because that's how our family, that's how our family did, how is that true faith? And so I also thought too that there's so many religions out there. How can I know for sure that mine is the right one? It makes no sense. There's so many religions out there that are preaching, we know the answer, we have the answer, this is the right way. And they all have this propensity to proclaim that Their God is the only God. Their God is the only and real one. Well, if everyone's God is the only God and the real God, something's up here, because somebody's got to be wrong here, right? Someone has to have it fucked up. Maybe one person has the real God, but then everybody else, they're child luck, I guess. It doesn't make any sense to me. You know, it doesn't make any sense. So what then? Is there something that we're not something that we're not seeing? I feel like there might be. But yeah, so when you think of astrology, people always think, ah man, you know, they say I'm a Taurus, but I don't really feel like a Taurus. Astrology is some bullcrap, you know, it doesn't make any sense. It's because there's more to astrology than just your sun sign. You see, for example, I am a Capricorn sun, right? So the typical Capricorn is kind of, you know, serious, quiet, reserved, but authoritative. And that very much is me to some extent, right? But that's not all of me. I definitely feel like I am not the typical Capricorn. I feel like I'm a lot lazier. I'm more risk acceptant. And just in general, that doesn't describe my whole personality. But that isn't my whole personality. See, there's three major components to your astrological chart that really shape who you are. And that's your sun sign, your moon sign, and then your rising sign or your ascendant sign. So for me, I have a Capricorn sun, I have an Aquarius moon, and I have a Pisces rising. And when I look at all three of those signs together, is when it paints a really good picture of who I am personally. And then I look at it and say, okay, that makes a lot more sense, right? So what does that mean? Because what I believe is astrology is more than likely, it's a legitimate discipline, it's a legitimate science, just like all the other sciences we have, like physics or biology. But yet for some reason, we don't incorporate that into our evolution. We don't incorporate that into our development as a species. And it's my opinion that the powers that be, the elite, whoever actually controls this world, for some reason, they don't want us to progress. They do not want us to progress in our evolution. They don't want us to progress in technology. They don't want us to progress in spirituality. They want us to stay stagnant. Because when we say stagnant, is when they can maintain control. But when things change, that's when their control structure becomes threatened. And so I figure that there's something that we aren't getting. And I know, I'm sure that the universe... Okay, I'm cutting this short, guys.